Right, we're at the Oxford complex run by Cemex today. We've come down here to talk about a fantastic new bait that's making serious waves in the carp world. This is something a little bit special that you're definitely going to want to be checking out. We're here with John Banister, co-owner of Aqua Dynamix.
Hiya, how you doing? You can't teach this one, can you, Joe? Whoa!
We've only been here 5 minutes. We thought we'd chuck a couple of rods out whilst we have a chat about the bait and, well,
This
proof's
is
in the pudding.
the power of the worm, look.
Well, literally, mate, not even 5 minutes, I'd
5
say.
minutes, look.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, just tipped it off with a little bit of plastic, but this is the monster worm.
Talking of worms, John, you used to be quite famous for using the real thing. So this is basically a way of not having to worry about getting your fingers messy and covered in worm juice. And...
Yeah, that's right. I thought that was a tench then. I thought, oh my God. Yeah, no, that's what it is. I mean, I'm not really well known for using boilies, and I sort of got into it by default, really. But I had to find a way of transferring a natural bait into a boilie.
Sounds
and obviously, it's something that we've been working on for the last 3 years, and we're getting there now. It's only a small one, look, but
here we go, mate.
They all can, don't they?
It. Yeah, I've been seriously interested in the development of it all. You've sort of given me the odd little clue here and there, and obviously the guys that have been using it, it's just been phenomenal for them.
That has.
Go on the worm.
Lovely, straight away, 5 minutes, you can't teach that. Right, lovely. Can you just pass us that mat, please, Rob? It's only a little bit, it's not going to make 30, is it? Oh, what a start.
Well, there you go, mate. As I say, the proof is in the pudding, and
Lovely.
that is most certainly the pudding. There's the rig there, topped off a little bit of corn, like your style.
Lovely, you can't believe that, can you really? You know what I mean? Been here 5 minutes, wanged it out. It almost looks like it's a bit set up, but you know, we can assure you it's not. Should we get it back?
Yeah, get it back, and I'm quite intrigued to find out a bit more, John.
Beautiful.
That's nice. Start with a bit of action, isn't it?
Well, it's lovely, you know. I mean, the thing is, it doesn't matter, does it? You get a little bite, you know, could be a 40-pounder, could be a 2-pounder. But as an angler, does it really matter? It's the excitement of biting it. Once you get that, so exciting. So yeah, what a lovely start, mate.
Spot on.
Beautiful.
All right, well, we were just saying about, you know, how you got into it and what you've sort of managed to achieve with regards to getting the naturals into a different state. I've
been sponsored as a consultant for lots of bait companies over the years, like, you know, everybody else has who sort of takes this line of work. You know, there's a progression, isn't there, you know? But I thought to myself one day, I'm well known for using worms. I don't really use boilies. I'd like to use boilies, you know, for the mass baiting approach. Obviously, if you're using boilies, there's so many more things you can do. But we all know deep down that naturals catch more fish. We know it. I mean, I've done so much research underwater. As you know, we've done underwater stuff together in the past. But, you know, the thing is, the boilers are always the last to go. It doesn't matter what anybody says. If you put hemp, corn, worm, maggots, boilies, I can guarantee you that the last thing to be eaten will be the boilies. And I thought to myself one day, well, it's not really rocket science, is it? How do we get it so they'll want to take the boilies just like they would a natural bait? Well, of course, you make it a natural bait, you know? And it's something, again, that I've always said. People claim to have natural baits on the market, and yeah, all right, some of them are, but some of them aren't. They're just flavours. For something to be truly natural, it has to be part of it and not a flavour. It's almost like if you want a bacon sandwich now, or a chicken, you don't eat a packet of chicken crisps, or do you really?
It's not quite the same,
it's not the same, is it? You eat a real chicken, or, you know, or the bacon, you eat a bacon sandwich. And it was really that, it was that ethos that I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute, how do we pack it all into a boilie? And that's how it all started, really. You
know, natural baits will get you bites on days when a normal bait wouldn't.
Yeah, of course they will.
It's been proved time and time again. I mean, you with your worms, other people with maggots on your likes of Sandhurst, Frimley, you know, catching fish in conditions when you wouldn't normally catch fish.
Of course. We've been developing this maggot and worm bait for the last 3 years, but up until the last 3 months, I've put my foot on the gas and I've been up every night. It's been like a little candle, reading and stuff and really researching everything. At the end of the day, we mass bait, we use boilies, it's convenient, they don't fall off the hook, they'll stand there all night. You know yourself, you put a worm out there, he's out there for 10 minutes, a perch has ate it, or a roach or whatever, you caught a bream, and it just doesn't, it's hard to get your head around it all. And that's something when I was fishing with worms for all them years, you know, I did sort of 10, 12 years of fishing with worms, and I had to accept that every day. I didn't even used to set me rods up on the alarms, even like I haven't today. And the thing is, you have to accept you're going to catch so many tench, so many perch, so many bream. And that was using the worm. So I thought, how can I get all that? I'll just stop all this mucking about. I need to get that in a boilie, stop the messing, and start fishing properly. And that's something we've managed to do.
Amazing. Well, so the first one was the worm?
Yeah, the worm. What we did with that, basically, People's tried it in the past. I'm sure there's worm boilies out there that are working at the moment. I'm not saying that for 1 minute. But with us, we had to look at it. We had to think, well, at the end of the day, a boilie is a boilie. You know, you take a complex fish meal base mix, you take the eggs and you take live ingredients that are blended lobworms. You put all them together and they're fine. You can make it bind, you can roll it, yeah, it's fine. But it doesn't last. It will start going off, it starts turning, you know, the eggs all reacts with the worm and stuff and everything else. So I thought to myself, well, there's got to be a way around this. We've got to stop it. We've got to stabilise it in effect. And we come up with a solution with a company that we work in hand with. And basically the worm now is pasteurised. So we can have a tub of worm now and it can sit there for a year and it won't turn.
Really?
But it's exactly the same thing as what the guy is blending up at home when he's getting his lobworms and blending up with a little whisk. It's the same thing. So we've managed to stabilise it. And to be honest, for us, that was the key to everything. Once we did it with the worm, we realised we could do it with a maggot, we could do it with the oyster, with a freshwater shrimp, we could do every single bait that we're working on and we're developing at the moment, we can do it. And trust me, the actual catch results and the rates of people catching is unbelievable. Lake records, big hauls, people on a 5 fish a year water catching 5 fish on a session.
Really?
It's gone mental because what's happened, the actual fish themselves, they can't actually tell that it's not natural in some cases. Yeah, they're wary, the fact it's still round, but they're off guard. I've watched them underwater with it, feeding on it.
So it's giving off them real natural signals.
Yeah, well that's another thing altogether. My business partner, you know, we actually took on a lad who's a scientist. Fish, you see, fish don't think we're hungry like we do. In a minute I think, oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's, it's dinner time, I'm starving. Fish don't do that. They have these responsive, natural elements to their body. The only time I could have ever done that, come along and caught a fish after 5 minutes, was using a worm or a maggot rig, not a boilie.
And to be fair, you know, I've played around with the worms myself and, God, what a mess. What a mess. And then trying to put a bag of them out and the bag's melting and you cast out, you've got bits of worm all over.
Everywhere. It was a very, very difficult way of fishing. But now we're at the stage where we've got the baits, we've got the naturals in there.
Time to have a little look, I reckon. So we've got the worm one here, very natural looking.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we wanted again. It's, if you smell it, no, this is not to catch the angler. I don't want anybody to open a bag and smell it and go, well, I'm not really sure about that smell. I want to fish with it. Yeah. That's what it's there to do, is to be fished with and not to be liked, you know? I mean, there's baits in the past I've smelt them and I thought, oh, I love it. It smells so good. But I didn't catch any more fish off it because it smelt good.
And it's like, you know, it's the goodness they get from it, isn't it? You know, it sort of keeps them coming back.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, obviously, they know what they want. We put the right stuff in there. They know they want it, you know? And again, you know, only time will tell, but, you know, like I always say, there's an old Chinese proverb, you know, I'd rather see something once than hear it 1,000 times, you know? And like I say, you just send that there, all right, it's a small fish, but it just goes to show that it does work. Definitely. And it's instant. I mean, that's the other thing I was going to mention to you, you know, we've had guys that have done massive pre-baiting campaigns with this, and we've had people that's turned up with a single bait. And the lads that have turned up with a single bait, they've had as much success as the lads who've done the pre-baiting, which both lots of success equals catching fish. One thing I wanted to mention was the fact that when me and Rob started this, we want them to be the most successful baits, or as successful as the most successful baits in the UK. And every time somebody catches something, you've got no idea what that does to me. It means all this work, you know, 10 years in the industry, you know, being penniless, you know what it's like, Joe, don't you? You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, everybody's catching, you know, and that's the reward that we want from it.
Well, it is seriously impressive that you've managed to produce this in the way that you have. We didn't really talk about the maggot one. This is the maggot one here, isn't it? It's white. Definitely got a maggoty twang to it.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Joe, there ain't much smell to it. It's like we said earlier, it's not to catch an angler, it's to catch a fish. You imagine that now, look, a little hook bait there with a little bag of white maggots. I mean, you know, this is basic. I reckon this will become the flagship of the range. We've got about 6 lads using it at the moment. And again, they're just absolutely annihilating waters with it. You know, in fact, it's got real maggots, it's got feeding spots, there's bits of bodies in there and stuff.
Really, it's got a brilliant texture, hasn't it? You know, they're perfectly round, but they've just got that nice.
Yeah, they've got that texture to it. Like I say, you can see the feeding spots, the bits of body, because that's the thing. Even when it's blended, you can't get rid of all the bits of body, and that's what we wanted. So yeah, it's a really, really nice bait, and I reckon it's going to do some serious damage.
Okay, John, so you say it's available now. Where do you get it from?
Yeah, I mean, you can go on the website, or you can call. I mean, there is still a limited number of spaces available for testers at the moment, depending on where you are, what area, where you're fishing, you know, and obviously it has to be a reciprocal thing, you know, if we like the sound of you and you like the sound of us. But yeah, it's going to be going retail in the next sort of few weeks, so keep an eye out for it.
Spot on, I certainly will. In the meantime, mate, you ain't getting these back.